This was a thug kind of move.
Is good. Chennedy Carter now with 12 points off the bench. And
Anybody who saw this knew what it was. It was a flagrant foul. In fact, if I were a ref in this game, you know what? This woman who did this, she would have been out. This Chennedy Carter out, like out of the game. This was a thug kind of move. There's really no other way to classify this. I know what I see. This ball wasn't even in play. The poor girl's just standing there, right? Waiting. And this Chennedy comes up and just rams into her. Bad stuff. Shouldn't have happened. And what do the refs do? They call it a foul. Oh, like it just happens. It just happens. No, that was not a normal kind of foul. This was the kind of foul that you should be kicked out of the game, if not the league for. This was not a normal, just course of action. But you see, there's a lot of people that for whatever reason don't like this rookie, this superstar rookie, Caitlin Clark, just coming in out of seemingly nowhere, but not really nowhere. I mean, she's had a tremendous amount of training, et cetera. We'll get to that in a minute, but just sort of taking the world by storm. And all of a sudden, there are people in the league, apparently, including some of the refs, that just don't like her. The other players don't like her. This was seen as kind of, just what you do. There's some commentator over on ESPN that was sort of saying, well, this is just a game. This is just a game. I'm sorry, this is not just the game. This was a very specific move by a very specific person who doesn't like all the attention that Caitlin Clark is getting. That's the reality.
That's all I'm saying in these conversations. Chennedy Carter's behavior is not indicative of the entire league. We are still talking about competition where you are allowed to get a little extra elbow in if you are competing and you do it within the parameters of the game. The game is physical. Caitlin is helping to grow the league. These women understand that, but she cannot be babied.
Whoa, she can't be babied. We're not talking about baby. We're talking about sportsmanship. A very well-known sportscaster, Pat McAfee, came out with a defense of Caitlin Clark, where he was sort of basically saying, look, like this is a woman who is growing the league massively, helping this league get better. And well, he used a term he shouldn't have used, and now people are freaking out. But I think his point is it's a commercial industry. She's growing the sport because you know what? She's freaking good. All right. And when you're that good, people notice, they pay attention. I want to play you this sound from Pat McAfee.
So I think what we're trying to say is what the WNBA currently has is what we like to describe as a cash cow. There is a superstar. And we're not saying that the players on the court need to act any differently. That's the athletes are going to do what athletes are going to do in any sport. And I think we're all learning that WNBA, that's old school football, baby.
Yeah, no.
That is old.
In other words, there's some rough gals in that sport. That's old school football, baby.
Old school football. But I would like the media people that continue to say, this rookie class, this rookie class, this rookie class. Nah, just call it for what it is. There's one white bitch for the Indiana team who is a superstar. And is it
She is.
She stayed in Iowa, put an entire state on her back, took a program from nothing to a multiple-year success story? Is it because she would go on to break the entire points records in the history of the NCAA? Not just the women's record by Kelsey Plum, shout out, but also Pistol Pete Maravich's, the dude's record as well. Is there a chance that people just enjoy watching her play basketball because how electrifying she is, what she did, what she stood for, how she went about going, what she went for? Maybe. But instead, we have to hear people say that we only like her because she's white. And she's the only popular because the rest of the rookie class is doing what they're doing. Well, that's a bunch of bullshit. And we think the WNBA, more specifically, their refs need to stop trying to screw her over at every single turn. What you have is somebody special. And we're lucky she's here in Indiana.
Okay, so he's making the point that, you know what? She's good. Caitlin Clark is just really, really good. It has nothing to do with color. Nobody's getting special treatment because suddenly there's a white girl playing this game. He's making the point that suddenly this game is getting noticed because there's a really good girl, awesome player playing this game. Last I checked, I think Michael Jordan probably got the most press, right, of any player. All right, and he's not white. Clearly, I mean, look, it's stupid that it's getting reduced to this, but this is the world in which we live. She's just a dynamite player. And maybe there are some people that are mad. And maybe there are people that will try and make it about race. Angel Reese, okay, who was one of the players against her, she had been tweeting look, we won. It's not just because we're in some chartered plane. She took the tweet down because people are seeing it as something that was sort of directly aimed at Caitlin Clark. But this is what's going on. There's this animosity because some players are like, oh, why are we suddenly getting noticed? You're getting noticed because you got a really good player, and that's what happens. And okay, she's a little different than you, but that shouldn't be what's actually dictating this. I want to show you some sound of the woman who knocked her to the ground. She was asked about that issue, and she refused to comment on it. Here we go.
On the play before bumping in with Caitlin, it seemed like she turned to you a little bit after the fever
I
score.
didn't answer no Caitlin Clark questions.
Did she say anything to you?
I don't know what she said.
What'd you say to her?
I didn't say anything.
That's enough.
They don't want to answer any Caitlin Clark questions because it's not about Caitlin, it's about us. This other one, Angela Reese, with the tweet that she had to take down, she actually skipped the press conference altogether because apparently she doesn't want to answer any Caitlin Clark questions. And she got fined $1,000 by the WNBA. I'll tell you what the WNBA needs to do: fine and fire the one who's out there with these flagrant fouls. I mean, she should just be tossed out of the game because you know what? That's not sportsmanship. It's just not. You'd think that people would be happy that somebody's actually paying attention to the sport, right? I mean, this is the first time I've ever talked about it. First time I've ever actually really cared about it. And it's because they get a superstar. It has nothing to do with what color skin she is. It's because the woman's a freaking superstar, all right? And everybody else needs to get over it. Hey, remember to subscribe, like, share, hit the bell. I'll be back with you here live tomorrow.